I think what you're saying is just that they're too proud. They're too proud
Maybe
to have
it's
a
ego.
woman have a woman by their side who can pull her own weight. At the end of the day, a woman that is choosing to be with them,
right?
Not a woman that needs to be with them to survive.
Yeah, maybe that's the distinction that they are scared of. Hello, I'm Tijani Musa.
And I'm Yasmin Musa, and this is how we're doing it.
Welcome to How We're Doing It. Here we share stories about our journey and experiences of being first-generation college graduates, our family, buying our first home, moving across the country, and living a debt-free lifestyle. We do so in an authentic, fun, and educational way to help other first-generation immigrants with similar paths. So welcome. One day, my wife and I came into the studio, and before we started recording the episode, we started discussing, as we normally do. We talk about the things that we're about to record. But this one day, we just started talking about random things, right? We started talking about our friends, we started talking about women and men. We asked the question, are men intimidated by successful, strong women? And as my wife and I started talking about this question and deeper into it, I decided to hit record. And so what you're about to listen to, it is the result of unplanned, unarranged conversation my wife and I had. And I would categorize this conversation as philosophical because we went really, really deep into the conversation. And I believe that you will benefit from it as well. And so without delaying, I'll go ahead and play the recording for this episode. As you will notice, the format is different from what we normally do. Like normally we would introduce our topic and then we'll go into it. But this one, we recorded it in the middle of a conversation. And I hope that you enjoy the conversation that myself and Yasmin had on this particular episode. A lot of the times, people, like I hear a lot of, for some reason, guys are like scared of women that are successful.
Yeah.
Rather than coming towards them and be like, you know what? She has a lot of things that I'm looking for. And I can see myself building a life with that person.
So rather than taking this really great woman and trying to make a life with her, they're scared of her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do you think that is? What is there to fear about a successful woman?
That's a good question. I don't know that I know the answer. This is one of those things that I don't know what I don't know. But I can see from other males' perspective, for some women that are successful, because generally speaking, right, men like to think that they are the head of the house, right? They want to be the top dog. They want to be, or at least feel like they are the top dog, right? And so then you have a woman that is successful or maybe just as successful as you. And then all of a sudden they may feel like power struggles. They may feel like, okay, this woman is so successful, she may or may not even listen to me or follow my lead or anything like that. So maybe that plays a role into what they are thinking or feeling.
So essentially you're saying that they want a woman who will submit to them versus a woman who will help them grow together, who will help them build. They want someone who's going to agree with what they say and not bring anything to the table?
I don't know. I don't know if that's what it is. Maybe it is to some degree. Not wanting a woman that challenges them. Maybe maybe it could be challenges them in like saying because I could see where people, either men or women, where they are so successful and they may take that success over their heads and think that my partner isn't lifting their own weight, and maybe use that to either disrespect them or not value their what they bring to the table. And I think most men probably think like that more than women do. And so that's why if they see a woman that is successful, they are going to be like, that woman is going to be all up in their head. They're going to be arrogant about it, or they're going to be rude about it. And I'm going to feel less than.
I think what you're saying is just that they're too proud. They're too proud
Maybe
to
it's
have a
ego.
woman have a woman by their side who can pull her own weight. At the end of the day, a woman that is choosing to be with them,
Right.
not a woman that needs to be with them to survive.
Yeah, maybe that's the distinction that they are scared of, rather than having a woman that chooses them versus a woman that they needs them.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
Yeah.
The difference between a need rather than we're partners in this. So maybe they are a little bit scared of that that disconnect, if you will.
I think that's like I don't know if that's like a thing for our generation or just like a thing for our culture. Because I know in the Latino culture, a lot of times you're told like, go to school as a female. You're told go to school, get your education so you can have a good career and you don't need to depend on a man. I know that was something that was instilled in me from when I was young. And so that, I'm a rule follower. I've been a rule follower all my life. That's essentially how I played out my life.
Yeah.
And I think in our marriage, I choose to be with you.
Right.
Do I need you? I love you
emotionally,
and I want to be with you. Yeah, emotionally.
Yeah.
But financially, if something were to happen to you, I think I'd be okay.
Yeah, you carry your weight.
I think so. Yeah. I think, obviously having children, that adds like different things to it.
Right.
That aside, but I think at the end of the day, like, you're instilled culturally or maybe even generationally. I don't know if that's something that parents are still instilling in their daughters, but I was told this is how you want your life to play out because you do not want to depend on a man. Yeah,
I think where I'm from, my culture, it's probably the opposite.
Interesting.
Yeah, because growing up, the man, you're supposed to take care of your family.
Okay.
And the women, because they get married so young. My mom was married at like 15, 16 years old. And so that's a school age, sophomore, freshman in high school. And so my mom got married so young. And so in my culture of West Africa, specifically in Sierra Leone, women get married so young. It is the responsibility of the man when you get married to that woman to make sure that you take care of that woman. And also when the kids are there, it's your responsibility to take care of the kids. Right? So then if that's the case for my culture and that's how I was brought up and that's how I was raised, and so maybe that's how a lot of men are raised culturally, where they tell them that you are the man, you are the provider, you are the protector of your family, and you have to provide for them. And so taking that context, and you grew up like that, you've been trained like that, you've been, your brain molded like that. And then you have a woman who is successful. Instead of attracting yourself to that woman, or even if you have an attraction with that woman, right? You, in your upbringings, you've been taught that you're supposed to be the leader of this family. You're supposed to take care of this family. You're supposed to provide and protect this family. And then you have a woman who is just as successful, maybe a little bit more successful than you. And then you're thinking to yourself, I failed my values. I failed the principles. I failed my parents. I was told I was supposed to be the leader for this family. I was supposed to be the provider. I was supposed to protect my family as a man. And then there's this woman who is more successful than me. Then what's my point? What's my purpose of this relationship?
Mm-hmm.
So I think some men think like that.
I honestly think that you just gave us the reason why we have a lot of single moms in this world. Because I think there's a lot of men that are not willing to let go of their ego and be okay with the woman being more successful than them, and that being okay. Like, it's okay that she does have more success than me. It's okay that she makes more money than me.
Right.
That's fine. Like, I think a lot of men are not okay with that. And then add into that, if you already have these insecurities and you're in this relationship, you know, I think that's going to cause problems, and that's what's going to lead men to just walk away from a marriage, or even from, you know, a situation where they're just living together, or, you know, they have a baby together. Like, I think that's why men walk away.
Yeah, I can see that happening. But I guess, like I was explaining the culture, right, where that's how a lot of men are brought up, to be the leader of the home, or be the head of the household. And so now, having been in the United States for almost 20 years now, I grew up here practically speaking, I guess my mentality has shifted a little bit. Once in a while, I do think like, okay, I'm supposed to be taking care of my family. Like, what do I need to do to make sure I put my family in a very comfortable situation? My wife, my daughter, and the future generations. But I'm not naive to think that you are not important in these partnerships. Matter of fact, for me nowadays, I've thought that it is a lot more better to work with you and partner up in achieving the things, because the way I've shifted my mentality now is, if it's going to take me 5 years to do it by myself, if I partner with you, it could take us maybe 2.5 years, because now it's 2 times the brain, 2 times the energy, 2 times the income, 2 times the efforts. And so I've shifted my mentality from what I was brought up as to now seeing it as a blessing to be able to find a woman that is smart, that is hardworking, that is pulling their own weight. And knowing that if something were to happen with me, I know that you will be able to carry on and take care of yourself and take care of the baby or babies, those type of things. And so that warms my heart and gives me hope, and it makes me happy. And I've told you before, like, we have implicit competition that you're not aware of, right? Like, I tell you, if you go back to school and get your PhD, I'll go back to school and get my PhD. But it's not in a negative way where I said, okay, my wife is more successful than me and I'm not liking this, I'm feeling less than. I've never thought that way. I think
it's more so like in a fun, competitive way.
Right.
Like,
it's a positive competition for me. Like, my wife is educated. I'm not going to allow her to be more educated than me. So I'm going to go back to school and get more educated.
I'm still smarter.
Yeah. I mean, I've told you before that when you came into my life, I performed better as a student.
I know.
My GPA pretty much doubled. And so, but I don't see it as a negative competition. I see it like a blessing and something that I need to embrace.
So don't you think it would be easier for these guys to just, if you are seeing that the woman you love is more successful, isn't it easier for them to just partner with her and work together than to walk out?
You would think it's easy. But when ego blinds the most educated of them, maybe there isn't a way to...
That's really interesting.
To save them from that. Yeah. Pride is a very dangerous thing.
It is.
Pride kills. Mm-hmm. Ego kills dreams. It literally kills people. Mm-hmm. Because the one person that could be your partner the one person that you could be working with to change your life and change generations after you, you see that person as a competition in a negative way. And instead of partnering up with them, instead of working with them, there are some brilliant, smart women out there. Me and you, we know so many smart women.
Yeah.
Wisdom, wise, educated. They have what you will, quotation and quotation marks, right? The full package.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful, smart, hardworking. They know what they want.
And they can't find a good man.
But they cannot find.
I also think that they're not willing to settle, which is a great thing.
Right.
So yeah, I think like they're not willing to settle for anything less than what they think they deserve. Like
Which is good.
I think that's like the shift now.
Yeah.
It's like women who are educated and who know they're the full package, like you quote unquote said.
Right.
Those women are not willing to settle for someone that is not right there with them, that is not going to treat them like the queens that they are.
I like it.
I like it too.
They've worked hard to get there.
Exactly. Like, look, since like I'm from Mexico, right? Like that's where I was born. I moved here when I was 8. So I would consider myself raised with Mexican values, but also in an American culture, right? Like my family, I felt like in a lot of ways we assimilated to the American culture.
Right.
And so for my parents, because they didn't have the opportunity to go to school, they always instilled in me, school is priority for you. You have nothing else to do except go to school.
Yeah.
And like, I knew that. Like, I was in middle school and I wasn't doing my own laundry. I wasn't cooking for myself. Like, those are a lot of things as a Latina. Your mom's like, no, you're going to learn to do this at a young age,
if
right?
you were in Mexico, for sure.
For sure, yeah. But because my family, like I said, they're mostly assimilated. That's not something my mom or dad pushed on me. They pushed on me, you need to get good grades. That's your priority.
Your only job.
That's your only job. You come home, you get good grades. As I got older, yes, I had to do more around the house, you know. But I moved out and I didn't know how to cook.
Yeah, I remember that.
I had to learn,
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh gosh, great times. But all that to say, you know, like it was this generationally, like this generational shift of women were told, Latina women specifically, I think, were told, you need to go out there, you need to get your education, and we succeeded at that. We did a great job at doing that. We have, you know, for the first time, like it's the highest percentage of Latinas with master's degrees. I think it was 4%. It actually doubled. I think it went up to like 8% or something. Don't quote me on that because I might be completely wrong.
Right.
But I know it's a high percentage based on what it used to be.
Right.
And then in all of that, we understood the assignment. We got all the degrees.
You checked all the boxes.
And then in that whole process, we delayed finding a partner and delayed having kids. And for some women, they're perfectly okay with that. That's not what they want. But then for others, you do have to start thinking about that eventually, right? So now we have friends that are over 30 who are still looking for that partner in their life. And it's hard watching. Like, I know as a friend who of like amazing, successful women, it's really hard for me to watch them struggle in relationships. The stories I hear about dating nowadays horrify me.
Yeah,
they're horrifying.
It's scary.
And and honestly, it's heartbreaking because I think about it in the perspective of a mom now and my daughter.
Right.
And my daughter's light years away from that, right? But it's something that, you know,
it could only get crazier from here.
Exactly.
Because more apps are going to be developed.
AI, who even knows, right?
AI is in play now. You could be talking to artificial intelligence on the other side, and you think it's woman, it's a human being because they know the language that human beings speak, and
that's scary. That's terrifying. And you know, I feel for my friends, and I know there has been multiple times where you and I have specifically prayed for some of our friends
every time
a lot of times for their happiness, whatever that happiness might be, for those that are looking for a partner, to find that partner, a partner that
values them, understands them, like would push them to the next level, and they push each other to the next level, respects them. Yeah, we pray for our friends every time.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. what do you think about when the shift that you were just talking about, right? Maybe it's a little bit different from what you were saying, but what do you think about women that says, you know what, I'm gonna focus on my career now because dating is not looking like it's for me. Do you think that they are saying that because they are not able to find that right partner, or they are saying that genuinely because they want to focus on their careers? Because I think you can have both.
I think you can have both. And I will say that from what I've heard, sometimes when you're not looking for the love, that's when it'll find you. Right. So I understand that perspective of I'm going to focus on my career or I'm going to focus on my education. Like find another focus. And then in that process, you somehow end up finding love there too.
Just let it play out.
Just let it play out.
Yeah. Control what you can control. And that's working towards your career and become the best at what you do.
Yeah.
And if love is in the air for you, it'll find you.
I do know it's hard. I mean, I've heard like someone when I used to work as a teacher, probably like my third year of teaching, I remember someone saying, well, you're lucky because you met your partner in college.
Right.
She was like, if you don't meet someone in college or at work, where are you supposed to meet other people? Like you have to purposefully make an effort to either go out to meet other people or get involved with other activities to meet someone there.
Yeah, I like that. I think we should save that conversation about where to meet partners when we talk about.
I don't even know where you meet partners nowadays.
Yeah, when we talk, we can dive into it more. And when we talk about like growing together, maybe we should make an episode around that where we talk about how we met and what we're building toward and what we've been through and things that we've worked on so far, that kind of stuff. Maybe we can elaborate on that more.
So going back to the reason why we started this episode, right? Like we started talking about successful women not being able to find a partner that values them. Or if they are with the partner, a lot of times that partner will walk away simply because of their pride, their ego.
Right. So
I guess what would be your advice for a male who's in this situation, or even a female who is in this situation?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think based on what I've learned about myself, right? And the way I've been able to retrain, learn and relearn and then learn, is that one, follow your heart, right? When I met you, I followed my heart. Even though when I first, quote unquote, throw myself at you and you said no, I insisted. I followed my heart and I said, I'm going to keep at it. So when you follow your heart and you lead with that, chances are maybe your ego might stop at the door. But you shouldn't leave your ego at the door, because when you walk out of the house, your ego is still waiting for you outside, and it's going to follow you again. So what I would say is follow your heart, take your ego, burn it.
Okay.
Burn your ego. When you burn it, you don't have it anymore. You don't leave it at the door, because when you walk out of that house, your ego will come back at you. So burn it. Forget about it, pray about it, and then leave it forever. And see that person following your heart and say, that person right there is the person I want to be with. And see it as a blessing rather than a negative competition.
And see how you can work together.
Yep.
Like you brought up.
Understand that person. What do they want for themselves? Where are they in their life? What are they working toward? How are they brought up? How are they raised? What do they value? If all of those things align with some of your things, try to get to know them more. and work with them as partners. And when you do that, you can accomplish things faster than you would alone.
Yeah.
And if a lot of men can do that, we wouldn't have a lot of single moms.
Or divorce rates.
Or
so high.
divorce rates so high. Because we have divorce rate. Don't even get me started about divorce rates. It's so scary. Like they used to say that, money and sex is the number one reason, one or two or the top three or top four reasons for divorces. Jeff Bezos, the founder for Amazon, billionaires, Bill Gates, been married for over 30 years, and they still get divorced. And you're sitting there, what now? What is the cause of divorce? If money was the cause of divorce, these people have it all. They own money.
Yeah.
You feel me? They own money.
It can be more than the money.
Yeah,
sure.
So it's more than that. And so that's why you have to follow your heart. Because when things get hard, you're going to think to yourself, why did I love this person in the first place? And those are the things that would balance out, because you cannot put it on material things.
Yeah.
You cannot put it on physical looks, because that person is going to get old one day. They're going to lose their physical. I have guts now. You know what I'm saying? I used to be a little bit.
Daddy belly.
Yeah, I got the dad bod.
Yeah.
So are you going to leave me now that you feed me so much? I have a dad bod. Those physical things at some point would depreciate like a car. But that when you follow your heart, you love that person for what they stand for the things that they bring to your life, for the things that you bring to their life, those things can go a long way. And I think that is a good place to start for our culture.
I like that. I think that's a real answer from the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Any advice for females going through that? How can they help?
I want you to answer that.
Ooh.
Give me the female perspective. Maybe if I have something to add, I could.
What's the question, though? How can they help support a male?
Yeah.
Going through that? Or how can they...
So maybe let's put it this way. A successful female, quote unquote, full package, highly educated, hardworking, they know what they want, they know what they can bring to the table. How do you find someone, and maybe the person you find doesn't have to be at that level at the time when you find them, but how do you find somebody who has the potential to meet you where you are and work with that person to go to the next level?
I think it's about looking at their values, right? Do their values align with your values? Kind of like what you said. And can you see them? Can you see yourself with them?
Right.
I've seen and heard of females who are very successful and then find men who are mediocre.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes the female mentality is, oh, I can fix them.
Say that one more time.
I'm gonna be the person that fixes him, and I'm gonna motivate him to go back to school,
right, or
to pursue a better career, or whatever the case may be. And I think the reality of it is, you can't do that.
Nope.
That's not gonna happen if this person doesn't have their internal drive to do that. If this person isn't aspiring to succeed, to go, if they're not a go-getter, if they're not, on the right path to get that degree or to get that career, what makes you think that you're going to be the one who changes him?
Right.
I just think, as a female, you know yourself, girly. Take care of yourself and your heart at the end of the day. Protect it. Don't allow any bozo to come in here, because you deserve to be treated like a queen. You deserve the love, everything that you imagine, your happily ever after is going to look like. That's what you deserve. So don't settle. Don't try to make a man out of a bozo. who doesn't deserve it.
Wow. That's a good one. And I guess in order to get to that point where you can identify bozos, as you call them, I think it requires some level of patience and taking things slowly, not rushing into things.
And really knowing yourself, right? Like doing that inner work.
Very much so.
To know
Very much
yourself
so.
and your values and what you bring to the table, and that confidence that this is who I am, and
It's
I'm a
a partnership.
badass, and this is what I can bring. So I will not be with anybody that is not right here with me. And I think the biggest thing is actions speak louder than words.
Right.
When you're first meeting someone, they can tell you a million and one things, but what are their actions saying?
Right.
What are you seeing? Because that's going to tell you more than what this person is telling you.
Yeah. And I want to go back into, knowing what you bring to the table, right? Can men or women, can we be in a position where we are able to identify somebody who has the potential to get to where you want them to be? Like from the start, because people experience life at a different times of their life, right? You have men or women that experience difficulties, and so it takes them a little bit longer to get to where they need to be. But as a potential partner, how do you identify and say, this person right here, I think I could ride with them to the end, and I think they have the potential to...
I mean, for me and you, we were very young. We were college kids.
Right.
It was very different. But I remember when speaking with you, I was very clear in, like, what are your 5-year plans?
Right.
What are your 10-year plans?
I felt like I was doing a job interview.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
Essentially, because at the time, I mean, you may have not been on that same page, but I wasn't dating to just date.
Right.
Like I was actually, I felt like all my relationships prior to you had been long-term relationships. And so I had always dated with the intention of what was the next step, right? Like taking it to the end. Yes. That end goal in sight. And so for me, it was very clear where are you? Who are you right now? And where do you see yourself in 5-10 years? And like I said, that's why those actions to me spoke louder than words, because you could have told me anything. Right. But if I didn't see you studying and trying to get good grades and trying to balance, all your jobs so you could make the money to just cover your tuition, like if I didn't see any of that, then I would have been like, this person isn't for me.
Wow.
Like, I can't just be with you to have a good time. Right. And I know it was college. It was very different,
right.
back then. But that was always my mentality.
I like it. That's a good one. I think I know what to do with this episode.
I interviewed you. I did. I asked you 5 years, 10 years.
Yeah.
And, I actually do that with whenever my sister brings around a new boyfriend, a new friend. We'll call him a new friend.
Yeah.
I can tell immediately if that new friend is going to be around for a while or if they're not.
Yeah, you would always come to me.
I always come to you and I tell you yes. Yeah. And I've had a lot of them who I'm like, that one's not going to be around too long.
You've been correct. Yeah, you've been correct.
Because it's the actions. It's that interview for me, like you call it. I just have to know, like, where, now looking at it with the perspective of like a sister, like where does his goals align with hers? I know her goals, so where does he fit in that picture?
Right. Yeah.
And I did that for myself. Where did you fit in that picture?
Yeah. I guess you did well. What do you think?
Oh, I think I did great. I was just talking about it with a friend over brunch the other day. I was like, thank God I chose a good partner. Like alhamdulillah, which means all praise be to God.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah for that, because I know a lot of women who don't end up as lucky as I did.
Yeah.
And it hurts.
And good people too. Yeah.
Absolutely. The most deserving of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they end up in these difficult situations.
Yep.
Heartbroken, you know, with all types of difficulties. And you never want to see that for anyone. You never want to see that for your friends, your family. You never want them to go through that. But that's the reality of the world we live in now.
Yeah. It's tough. Yeah. But what we can do is we can, you know, wrap up this episode. And what I was trying to say is I know what to do with this episode is I might play this for my daughter one day. I think it has a lot of insights. Things she needs to know.
I'm going to cry thinking about her.
All right.
Listening to this episode as a grown woman.
Yeah.
No. Okay. I don't want to think about it.
All right, we'll wrap it up. But that's my goal. I think she can learn from this. There's a lot of things here that she can learn from. But anyway, you have anything else before we wrap this up? My wife is crying, actually.
I'm good. Leave me alone. I'm a mom. Leave me alone.
This is why I said we need to live stream this so people can see. All right. So, yeah, this is great. I hope whoever listens to this benefits from it. And I think it has a lot of... We just literally just press record and we're just talking naturally. Yeah. This was great. Thanks for engaging.
Mm-hmm. And I would like our listeners to know that we pray for them and that they find whatever happiness they seek, and that be patient, know your worth, know what you bring to the table, and don't settle for anything less.
I like that. And because our listeners, the fact that they taking time from their day to listen to us, they've become a part of our friendships. Mm-hmm. They are our friends. So now when we pray for them and we think about them. Yeah. Thank you. That's a good one.
Mama. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.